आज ही डाउटनेट ऐप डाउनलोड करें। डाउटनेट पर होगा अब आपके सभी मैथ्स, केमिस्ट्री, फिजिक्स और बायोलॉजी डाउट्स का सफाया। बस अपने क्वेश्चन की फोटो खींचो, उसे क्रॉप करो और तुरंत वीडियो सोल्यूशन पाओ। डाउनलोड नाउ।
Hello students, today our question is let x, y, z are the three vector of each magnitude under root 2 and the angle between each pair of them is pi by 3 if a is non-zero vector perpendicular to x and y into z and b is the known vector perpendicular to y and z into x, then we have four options given. We have to find which option is correct here. So the solution of this question is vector x is equals to vector y and is equals to vector z as it is given to us in our question. So we can write here vector x is equals to vector y is equals to vector z is equals to under root 2, each of magnitude under root 2 here. So we can write here vector x into vector y, this will equals to magnitude of x into magnitude of y into cos 60, as pi by 3 is cos 60. So we can write here under root 2 into under root 2, and we know that cos 60 is 1 by root 2. So we can write here cos 60 is 1 by root 2 and pi by 3 is 180 by 3. So this will equals to 60 degree here. So from here we get x vector into y vector is equals to 1. Similarly, we can write for y vector into z vector, this is also equals to 1, and z vector into x vector, this is also equals to 1. So now suppose lambda a is equals to x into x vector into y vector into z vector. So we can write here by vector property lambda is equals to x vector dot z vector into y vector minus x vector into y vector into z vector here. So we have x into z vector is equals to 1. So we get here y vector minus x vector into y vector here 1. So we get here z vector. So similarly we can find lambda b vector equals to y vector into z vector into x vector. So this will equals to y vector z vector into x vector here minus z vector into x vector into y vector and whole multiply by x vector here. So we can write x into z. Here is mistake, so we can correct it. We can correct it here also. So we can write here y vector into x vector, y vector into x vector, and here is z vector, and here is y vector and z vector, and here is x vector. So from here we get lambda b is equals to y and x is 1, so we get here z vector, and y into z is 1, so we get here x vector. So we get lambda a is equals to lambda b is this, and lambda a is this is lambda a vector. Now let us solve according to given options. So our option A is b vector is equals to b vector dot z vector into z vector minus x vector. So we can write here first option is b vector minus z vector into z vector minus x vector, this is equals to b. So let us check it is true or incorrect. So here it is lambda b, we have find it lambda b is equals to z vector minus x vector. So multiply this by z vector, we get lambda b dot z vector is equals to z vector into z vector minus z vector into x vector. So here we know this is equals to under root 2 and this is under root 2 square is 2 and here is minus 1 and here is lambda b vector dot z vector. So from here we get b vector dot z vector equals to 2 minus 1 divided by lambda. So we can put the value of b minus z is equals to 1 by lambda. So here is b minus z is 1 divided by lambda into z minus x vector. So we have find it z minus x is equals to lambda b. So this will equals to lambda b vector. So this is equals to b vector, hence our option A is correct. So we can mark this. So option A is correct. Now we have to check a vector dot pi vector into y vector minus z vector. So we can write here option B. A vector dot z vector into y vector minus z vector. Into y vector minus z vector. So we have lambda a vector is equals to y vector minus z vector. So multiply it with z vector according to our question. So lambda a into z vector, this will equals to y z into y vector minus z into z vector. So from here lambda a vector dot z vector and z into y is equals to, we have z into y is 1. So we can write here this is equals to 1 minus z into z vector. So we get under root 2 square here. So again we get 2. So this will equals to a vector dot z vector is equals to minus 1 by lambda, and here we have, so put this in our equation B. So we get here minus 1 divided by lambda and this is equals to lambda a. So we get here minus a. So we check this is true or incorrect according to. So this is equals to a vector. So it is wrong here as we get minus a vector here. Now move on to option C. A vector into b vector, a vector into y vector into b vector dot z vector. So our option C is, so C is option is, so we can write here minus time of a vector into y vector into b vector and z vector. We have calculated the value of this is 1 by lambda and let this is equals to 1 by mu. So we can let here let b vector into z vector equals to 1 by mu. So now solving this we get here so by solving this we get minus 1 by lambda mu. So a vector dot b vector is equals to y vector minus z vector into z vector minus x vector and multiply lambda a into mu b here. So we get here y vector minus z vector and z vector minus x vector. So we get here lambda mu a vector into b vector is equals to y vector into z vector minus z vector plus z vector into x vector. So we get here this is equals to, here is 1 minus 1, here is y vector into x vector also. So we get here 1, here is 2 minus 2 plus 1 and minus 1 here. So from this we can write here lambda mu A cross B is equals to -1 and A vector dot B vector equals to -1 lambda mu. So this is also proved. Option C is correct here. And now move on to option D. Option D is A vector is equals to AY into Z minus Y. As it is of opposite of B option, if B is false, then D must be true here. So we have option D true also. So we can mark which option are true and which are false. So this is also true and this is also true. As these are of opposite sign, then this will be also equal to D, correct option. So our option A, C and D are correct. Thank you.
क्लास 6 से 12 से लेके नीट IIT JEE मेंस और एडवांस के लेवल तक 10 मिलियन से ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स का भरोसा। आज ही डाउनलोड करें डाउटनट ऐप या व्हाट्सएप कीजिए अपने डाउट्स 8400 400 400 पर।